Good afternoon. My name is Seth Limbaugh. I'm with the Rutherford County Library System. Today I will be teaching the Filmmaking Basics Editing a Scene class. This is the last class in a long list of classes we've been teaching on filmmaking, and I'm excited to do this with you. A little bit about myself. I've got a background in film and video production. I went to the Art Institute of Nashville and graduated from there. And I've worked on several films in the area, including multiple 48-hour film and 24-hour film projects as well. So, with all of that being said, we will now begin this project. So, we are going to go to, and if you want to do this along with me, you're more than welcome to, for editing purposes, we want to go to CineStudy. CineStudy has a challenge up where you can take footage from a short film they've done and edit it together to make your own short film and submit it to them or put it in your reel, things like that. So they just said you can read the script, edit it in the short film, you can upload it to any sites as long as you use our complete credits and use their hashtags. So you can use their footage for your demo reel, you just got to make sure you give them proper credit. To get there, you will go to cinestudy.org/2019/09/project-horror-movie. You can see that right up here in the top corner of my screen. It's up on the URL bar up here where I'm moving my mouse at. I'm going to leave it here for a second, but if you can look at that to go there. But yeah, so you'll come to this page. If you scroll down, here's the link here, download all the raw footage. They also have low-res footage. It is in 4K. The files are very large, so if you do not want to edit in 4K and you just want to use this just for practice, I would go ahead and just get the lower-res footage. If you can't handle 4K with your computer. However, if you can, go for the 4K. If you got the ability to do that. They supply you with the screenplay, which is just a very short, brief one. We, however, are not going to be editing this whole scene. That would take us more time than we have allotted. So we are just doing this little section here with the waking up, or I guess right here. So the waking up and getting out of bed. So we are not doing the chase scene with the killer and all of that. We're just doing the wake up and the conversation about it. Also, here are the list of credits that you will be required to put in your film. I'm going to read them out loud since we are using them for a demonstration for editing purposes. This film is starring Brooke Curtis, Mike Malatic, and Jocelyn Tanis. Director is Peter John Ross. Cinematographer, Greg Sabo. Producers, Peter John Ross, Greg Sabo. Co-producer, Mike Malatic. Camera operators, Greg Sabo and Zach Sabo. Gaffer, John Spanhawk. Grips, Steve Steinmetz, Joseph Fuller. Boom operator, Micah Jenkins. Production assistant, Brad Sherman. Second assistant director, Cordelia Calrissian DeVille. Lighting provided by Zabo Lights. Cameras provided by 4K Cine and Sabo Studios. Props provided by Production Partners Media. Post-production facilities provided by Sunny Boo Productions. Shot on location at JMO Studios and Rossland. Special thanks to TJ Cooley and second assistant director, Cordelia Calrissian DeVille. Lighting provided by Sabo Lights. Cameras provided by Frameline Cinema and Sabo Studios. Props provided by Production Park Council Media. And the Post-production facilities provided by Sunny Boo Productions. That is all the information on location at JMO Studios and Rossland. You'll obviously want to add your own editing second assistant director, Cordelia Calrissian. These are all the things that are provided by Sabo Light footage, which cameras provided by Frameline Cinema and Sabo Studios, props provided by Production Park Council Media, and the post version of their horror film. Apologize for my coughs throughout this. Got a little bit of bronchitis and I am battling through it, but we are going to keep pushing and it's going to be a good class. So, once you get all of your footage downloaded from CineStudy, you'll head over to Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I'm editing, and if you're editing in something else, then that's fine, but this is going to be a primarily Adobe Premiere Pro class. So, come in here, you'll right-click, create new bin, create an original bin, and you will file, import all of your footage. We are only going to be editing out of Horror A Cam Set 1 today, because that has all of that one scene that we are doing in it. The others do not. But feel free to do that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open that up, and then it'll appear over here in this. We're under the assembly tab, by the way. It'll appear on the right hand side. Then we're going to go back over here, right click, new bin, and hit breakdown, or whatever you want to name it. But this is where we're going to split up all of our shots into shot lists. Now I've already done it, but I'm just going to show you how to do it because it takes some time to do. So you will find the marker. So here we are. We are scene 2. So you press. You can either press I to mark in, or you can use this little button here. So you'll mark your input slot, and then we let the scene play. And so we hear cut. We'll press spacebar to pause the scene. Also, spacebar plays the scene. I forgot to mention that, so that is important information to have. But you press spacebar to pause that scene, and then you either press O to mark your out, or you press this button right here to mark out. Then you can left click and drag over to your breakdown bin and drop it. And that will create that section of just that section there. And then you'll click on it and you'll label it Scene 2, Take 1, which we've already done up there. We don't need to do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. But yeah, so now we've got... Oh, wait, what happened there? Well, it looks like Scene 2, Take 1. Now we're going to do a new Scene 2, Take 1. I don't know what happened with Scene 2, Take 1. Alright, so we got Scene 2, Take 1 right here. There we go. And so we've already watched that, so we've seen how that looks. So now we'll watch Scene 2, Take 2. And so now we're going to watch each take to see which one is our best take, because there's no multiple camera shots. We just have just this. So I was deleting those duplicates there. So now we're going to watch Scene 2, Take 2. We'll drag it down here. We'll watch it down here. There we go. Oh, it's because we're in assembly. That's why. So we want to go to the editing panel now, because now we're editing. We'll open up breakdown. There we go. And so now we've got all of our scenes here. Scene 2, Take 2. You can see where it's got it listed over there, so you can either just drag your marker here to watch it, or you can just drag it into a clip over here and you can just watch it over here. I like dragging it over here and just watching it in the frame over here. Okay, that was a good take. Now let's look at take 3.
Scene 2, take 3. Mark.
we've got that one. So out of those three, I prefer take 3. I think it is. I like it because it's the shortest. It gets to the point quick enough, and we're at the beginning of a film, and you kind of want to get to the point. Or not right at the beginning. I guess this is technically the end of it, but it's still, we're at the beginning of a scene. We want to kind of get to the point of the scene. We don't want to linger too long. And this one kind of shows some hustle. So we're going to stick with that. So now we're going to come in and we're going to edit. We're going to cut out
Take 3. Marker.
useless stuff. So I like the fade in. So we're going to, you can use left and right arrows on the keyboard to go frame by frame. We're going to move to the exact frame that hand is out of shot because I like this part right here. So then we're going to cut. We're going to cut this right where it's at. To cut, you will press, which doesn't make any sense, but to cut, you press. Oh no, it does. Sorry, I'm on. There's multiple different hotkeys depending on what editing software you're using. For cut, for Adobe Premiere, it is C. So that does make sense. C for cut. So you'll just put your cut right on the blue line. Click it. You can press V to go back to your mouse, and then you'll just drag select this and hit delete, and then right click and ripple delete. So now our scene blurs in. That's still too long. Let's wait for him after he says action. So action, okay, there we go. So now we're going to cut again. Remember, C cuts, V goes back to your mouse, drag select, hit the delete key, right click, ripple delete. Perfect. That's good timing. And then we don't want to linger here, so as soon as she gets up and is off camera, right there, we're going to cut there. So C to cut, V to select, delete. Alright, now we move into the meat of the scene, which is the dialogue. I'm going to pull up the dialogue here. There's some discrepancies in the dialogue, so we gotta watch for that. I'm gonna pull this off screen so that way you can't see it, but I can read that. But I would always have your script up to reference at all times if you can, just so to make sure that you're editing it the way the director intended it to flow. So now we're gonna watch this first scene here and see what we think. Yeah, so her dialogue does not match what is written at all. So we'll see if these other ones do. Here's take 2. Oh boy, they are improvising a lot here. And then we got this one. Alright, well, those are our options. I don't know which one I like the most. I don't like any of them because there's no urgency in getting into the room. So let's actually look at an alternate angle before we jump into this one. Let's look at these two angles. Let's see how this one goes. Alright, so that one's pretty good. There's a few stutters, but we can actually get rid of those by cutting away from her and cutting to her friend to fix that. Alright, I don't like that one as much. I think the first one was better. So yeah, and then we've got the friend take. I think that's what this is. Yeah, so this is this is how we're gonna start the scene. Because this is her coming in, so we won't show her rushing in. We'll show the friend saying, "Hey." This one wasn't split up into two takes, that's my fault. Okay, so those are all the dialogue lines for her and just a minute. So, for the first one, we're going to have to use the first one because the hey doesn't happen, the camera doesn't move quick enough for the second hey. So we're going to have to use this first one. Oh, no. So this one here. So, we're going to cut here. Let me cut a little bit into it. Right after he says action, we're going to cut. So there we go, we got hey. Nope, don't look away. Alright, so we want her still looking. Okay. Now let's hope that she is still holding that coffee pot in her hand when we go to over here. What's this B-roll that we've got? Oh, it's just a close-up of that. That's not necessary because of the hay. So we're just gonna use. All right. So now, let's see if in any of these she's holding the coffee pot. Ah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so we got that. So this maniac knows he was chasing me with an axe. Perfect. don't want that walk-in. Let's do that. Okay, so now I wish there was a little bit more of a walk. So we want to back it up a little bit. Nope, okay, we can't use take one. Let's look at take two. See how that walk-in looks. The haze aren't aligned in that one. Let's look at take three. Okay, this one works. I'll tell you why it'll work. Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to move this up one for, oh, nope, sorry. We're going to move this audio down. And we're going to lock it. And we're just going to delete the scene and unlock it. That leaves the audio, but not the video. That hay right there, that's what we need. So, we're going to cut. We're going to move it over here. There we go. So now, why is there two hays? Wait. We're going to cut the end of that audio so that we cut off her second hay. So now, we'll delete that. Here's what we've got. We've now got the hay from that clip on a separate audio track, and which you can just drag them around to create layers, and then that'll be her entrance. So now we've got this. There we go. Trying to find a good place to cut to her face. There we go. I'll do it right here. So this will just be a short one, and now we'll cut to one of these close-ups. Alright, so we'll cut out that beginning right there. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to see if she says I couldn't get away from this guy in these other clips here. Let's look at scene. There we go. Nope, that is not close to what should be said. Okay, so we're not going to get consistency with dialogue. So let's try to figure this out. Okay, so what we're going to do, because there's not a lot of consistency, we are going to take reactions and put them over the top of it, and then we'll see how that goes. So let's, we don't need, so I'm going to lock this, oh, nope, sorry, that's not what I should do. I'm going to lock the video part up here, grab this, and hit delete, because we don't need any of that dialogue. We just want reaction shots. So let's find some good reaction shots in here. So we have good reaction shots. Oh, come on, give us some reactions. Here we go. So input. Whoops, no, don't have to do that. Sorry. Blade tool cut. Bring it back over this way. Okay. So let's find a good place for a reaction shot. Okay, well, this is getting very frustrating because they did not give us a lot to work with here. Let's try to find a better reaction shot. Okay, maybe this will work. And you can grab the ends and drag around to find reactions, so... Alright, that's not going to work either. We can't do reaction shots. Oh, this is going to be a adventure. Okay. So, what else? And so this is the this is sometimes the plight of the editors. Sometimes you don't get footage that's going to go with what your vision of what the scene should look like is, and you're kind of just left to the devices of what you've got. So let's find a workaround. So let's find the part. So she's trying. So she can't get away from this guy. Let's find the part of the conversation in here. So let's see. What does she say? Okay, maniac with an axe had a suit, couldn't get away from this guy. Suit. Okay, so that's how we can end it. So how here? So now, what we'll do is we'll take this part. I pressed I to do an input to start the clip there, and we'll move it here over the top of this. So cut this part out. I'm just going to silence that. Oops, nope, that's not what I meant to do. Mute, here we go, mute track. This guy, all of a sudden. Alright, and then I woke up and it was so weird. Okay, cool. So that's perfect. Then we cut there. We cut the clip there. Alright, so we bring that. We can cut. So now we take out that audio, put this in, unmute. And so that's just me cleaning up. I was just moving everything down to one track, deleting the audio from this scene and moving this one in. So, or this take.
What I could do actually is die, and all of a sudden he's going to swing, and I was thought I was going to dead, and then
Alright.
upstairs, had the axe, and he was about to do it.
Nope, that's the other scene. So we're going to get rid of that. None of that is important. We're just going to shorten the scene down just a little bit. And so now we've got this part here where she talks about handing. So yeah, we're going to. We should do the first one because the director is talking over them on the second one. So we found that part. Press I to do an input. And then O for output. Drop it in. Whoops, it started over. Don't want that. Come on. There we go. Okay, and now we go back to our wide shot, the very end of one. Let's find one for when she's handing the cup over, and then, whoops. Here's our wide shots. Okay, so cut there. So she shrugs. Alright, input there, and we'll see if that works. No, if that one doesn't work, let's go to take two and see what take two looks like. We'll pass on.
It seems so real.
Nope, she's talking over her again. Let's hope not in this one. Huh. Okay, well, I guess we're just going to use the 1 and 3. That seemed to be the cleanest out of those, so.
It was just like one of those.
So sometimes we're not always going to get clean cuts. But, let's see. Let's see. Maybe if we extend her movement out a little bit. There we go, okay. So on need. So you need this more than I do. So that is how we do that section there. So next we have, next up we've got, okay, so we got to find the you need us, so you need, alright. right. We'll try to cut there. We'll see if how that sounds. There we go, and that fixed it. So sometimes you just got to be a little creative with the dialogue, and then that will get us to that point. So now that we got that taken care of, we've kind of got the scene in a wrap. We're not going to include that ad-libbing there because that's not in the script and it's unnecessary. So now we've got the scene. So now let's watch it, and this is kind of a rough cut, and then we can go in and fine-tune and tweak it. So here we go. And there we go, we've got a solid scene. So let's go through and trim a few things, because the biggest thing in film is making sure things are flowing. You don't want dead time, even if it's just a millisecond. Dead time wastes time. So we're gonna cut about here. We're gonna make this a little bit shorter. We want it to start with just, there we go. No, we don't want to linger, so sleep up, going. That's a good cut. I like that. Okay, I think we're going to cut there. So you can hold down Alt and use your scroll wheel to make this bigger or smaller, but that's if you need to fine tune and get in there and really cut something. So we just zoomed in a bunch. We're going to cut right there and then right click and ripple delete to make this transition a little quicker. So let's listen to it now. Perfect. So So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little split cut here. So we're going to cut about here, but we're going to also cut here. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete the audio from this. Make sure, yeah. So we're going to delete this silent bit right here. So to do that, we're going to lock this down, and then hit the delete key. That gets rid of that audio. And now we're going to move, we're going to delete, whoops, we're going to delete this video and leave the audio there, doing the same method. Now we're just going to slide all of this by highlighting it and slide it all the way over. Click, and then you can just drag that over to connect it. And see now, the dialogue continues with the cut, and that gives it a little bit more motion, a little bit more fluidity. So now we've got the scene's done. Like at that point, then we would just throw in the credits, which we might do if we have some time here at the end. But now we go into color grading. So we're going to move over to our color tab. So here we are in our color tab, and we're just going to go scene. We're going to go clip by clip and recolor it and make sure it looks good. So this is our nighttime clip. I'm going to pick when she's in focus. So we've got a look over here. Blue, cold. No, I don't do that. I'm not gonna use any of these predetermined looks. We're just gonna go through and do it manually. So faded film. No, we don't want to sharpen. So we got basic color correction. So white balance. Well, we can't white balance this because it's already color graded blue. So if we white balance it, it'll just get rid of our moon. But we can make this a little bit more nighttimey. There we go. So we can make the temperature a little bit, by turning this temperature a little bit colder. That'll make it look a little bit more like night. Drop the exposure a little bit. Maybe bring up that contrast. Yeah, I like bringing up the contrast. Shadows. We don't really mess with those. Okay, so there we go, making our blacks a little darker. So now this is what it looks like currently. And just in case you're wondering, this is what it looked like before. This is now. So now we move over to this scene. Now this is one that we can color grade. White balance selector. We can select white right there. There we go. That color grades it much better. And that this makes it, and like also this is still supposed to be nighttime, so we want kind of a bluer look. We want contrast up a little bit. We would want our exposure down just a little bit. There we go. So now see, that looks a lot more like nighttime than this. We've got this darker look. So now we're going to go to the next one. White balance selector. I'm selecting this right here. That's been my go-to. It's not exactly white, but it's actually giving us a darker tone, which I'm okay with. Bringing the temperature down just a little bit, exposure just a little bit down, raise that contrast, and now there we go. And so now we're just going to do that for each one. Color selector, white balance selector, background there, gives it a little bit of a blue feel. Bring those blues down just a little bit, lower the exposure just a little bit, raise the contrast. No, I'm not going to mess with shadows. Sometimes I just play around with some of these just to see how they'll look. But that looks good right there. So now we've got another one there, and then the next one, same as before. So what we can do here is, because that is the exact same clip as right before, we can right click, copy, come over to this scene here, right click, and hit paste attributes. And see, it's got Lumetri color selected. Click OK, and then it auto does what we did in the other one over here, so we don't even have to worry about it. Same thing here. So we've got this close-up of her. I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to right click, copy, come back to her close-up. Whoops. Might have to zoom in a little bit because there we go. Right click, paste attributes, OK. It's already done. Same thing here, right click, paste attributes, OK. And then the final one, which is this here, right click, copy, right click, paste attributes. OK. So now the whole thing is color corrected. Let's play through it one more time. All right, and that is that. Now we could go in and try to clean up the audio some, but that is going to take a lot more work, and we don't really have the audio files to work with. A lot of times on set, their audio is recorded separately, and then we'd be able to really delve into those. But we can mess with it a little bit. So we're just going to assign them all as dialogue here. Here, Control A, dialogue. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna try to just do a map, like one thing to do all of it here. Let's see if it'll take. I don't know if it'll. Oh no. Okay, you have to do each one individually. So dialogue, preset. You could do balanced female voice. We're just gonna do that for all of them. Dialogue, preset, balanced female voice. Dialogue, balanced female voice. And this is the quick way to go in and do this. Of course, you can go in and like adjust all of these things yourself, and kind of modify it yourself. But for time restrictions today, we're just going to go in here and do balanced female voice for everything. Okay, so now we'll listen to the whole thing. This might have been bad, so we'll see what we did. Oops.
Hey, I just had the weirdest dream ever. I was in this warehouse and there was this maniac in a yellow suit, and he had an axe and he was chasing me, and it's like no matter what I could do, I just couldn't get away from this guy. And all of a sudden he was going to swing, and thought I was gonna be dead, but then I woke up and it was so weird.
Oh, that's terrible. You need this more than I do.
Thanks.
Alright, so that was bad. So that created a lot of noise, so we're just gonna undo all of that. But that is an example of how you would go in here and adjust dialogue. You just go in, select it, choose dialogue, clarity. You can choose the clarity dynamics. You can choose what the voice would sound like. You can enhance speech, reverb. There's just different things you can do in here to adjust your dialogue and your audio stuff as well. So that's basically it. The final thing that you'd want to do is you'd want to add the credits into your film. Let's see, can we? Well, we'll see if we can do that. We don't want to take up too much time, but like, let's see if we can get these in here. So I'm copying the credits that they have listed now. All right, and now we would right click, effects control. And there's different ways to do credits. I prefer to actually make my credits in like Photoshop or something like that, and then just have them animated, like a motion scroll up. That's so much easier than trying to create credits, but we'll see if we can create something real quick for everybody. Let's see, is graphics where we need to go to for this? It's been a minute since I've done this part, so bear with me. Uh-oh. We might have crashed. No. Okay, so there's also a lot of options that you can choose from under graphics. There's motion credits, there's things like that, angled credits. So we'll just throw in some angled credits. See what that looks like. Okay. Let's see, effect controls, text. And then you can enter all of your text over here, and it'll create it. We're not going to do all that because that's going to take us over class time. and I'd rather open up the floor for questions. So with that being said, just to kind of end everything out again, I'm going to put these credits up on the screen for this video's purposes, and I'm going to read them off, or I'm just going to let them sit here for a second. Let's see, so they've been up here, and then I'll scroll down. So that way, just if anyone needs to see that, they can. But yeah, so that'll conclude our class. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I know editing can be pretty robust, so I can try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. There's a lot I do know about editing and a lot that I don't know about editing. There's so many tips and tricks and new ways to do things and things like that, but I would be happy to help you out if I can. And yeah, this concludes our class on editing. So thank you all so much for attending. Alright, and that is it for our class for today. So if you've got any questions, go ahead and put them in chat, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. This concludes our section on filmmaking. This is the last class I'll be teaching for a bit. There's one makeup class on Photoshop coming up, so just stay tuned for information about that. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so we'll go ahead and end the class. Thank you all for attending. Feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions. Thanks.